Hey there, how are you?
Yeah, fine. Yes, fine.
Well, that's good.
Hmm?
Hey, Charlie, can you hear me?
There we go. I think I'm louder now.
Hey, can you hear me, Charlie?
I can. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Nice to meet you.
And you? How's everything going over there?
Oh, super busy, super busy.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, that's all right. So tell me a bit about you and your company and how long you've been at this and all the other wonderful things that everybody always wants to chat about.
Yeah, so I've been doing this for about 8 years, I guess. Started in 2013. Um, and we started out just, in my parents' basement, and then got our first shop, and then moved into a larger facility, grew to a staff of about 8. And then last year we transitioned into contracting all of our work out and just working as a broker, so to speak. And so now we have one team member. It's myself and one other, and working on growing our new system of business. So that's kind of the skinny. That's the real short version.
Okay. So you're not doing any printing at all now, just contracting it all off.
I mean, basically, we'll do some emergency stuff here because I still have a fully loaded facility. Um, we'll do some heat pressing of like patches, every now and then, or, easy stuff. We don't like sweating, right now.
Okay. So what made you decide to get out of the actual print and go into the uh, contracting side instead?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. Really, I'll give you the short answer and then I'll explain. The short answer is we wanted to play to our strengths. When framing up orders for clients, we have to do a lot of back and forth. We've got to get their art ready. We've got to help them choose their garments that they're working with, the quantities, the sizes, the styles. There's just a lot of work put into building an order. And I got tired of going back and forth through email, especially with art revisions and things like that. So years ago, maybe like 5 years ago, I just decided to say no to back and forth emails. We would set up meetings with clients in our shop. We would share our monitors with them, and our artists, who was me at the time, we would go through and build their order with them in that meeting. We would create all of their artwork. We would grab all of their garments that they need. And then by the end of the meeting, they'd have finished art in a print ready format. They'd have all their garments. They'd have an invoice ready to go to just say yes to. So our customers love this experience. We saw amazing customer retention. They just wouldn't go to any other printer because they know that if they come to us, all the details are going to be met, all their expectations are going to be met. They can get hands-on, and build their custom order with us better than anybody else can. So then we wanted to really get outside of Michigan where we're printing. We want to start being, a national competitors. We asked ourselves, how can we offer this experience online? Well, and this was before the coronavirus. I went to ThreadX in 2020 and was talking with some guys there. And we started talking about
Hello?
Zoom and using Zoom sessions.
Hello?
And so we decided to
Hi, Alan.
transition our experience that we were offering in
Okay, you
person.
back?
Uh,
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the guys that works here for me, Stone. How does that phone compare? I mean, I'm not familiar, but I'm usually all just kind of a Samsung guy, so.
We're not seeing you at all, Alan. Are you on? Do you have a camera?
One of their what phones? Budget phones, yeah.
I can hear you, but can't see you.
Yeah. So what does the S7 not have that it needs to work with it? Because I mean, that's not that old.
you can mute him, Charlie.
Huh?
You can mute this guy. Sounds like he's not
And you
really
can't upgrade it to make it work?
connected.
Yeah.
All right. made? And then like, are you pretty sure he's gonna have trouble with it, or it just may possibly is off chance?
Doesn't sound like he's talking to us, Charlie. It sounds like he's on the phone with somebody else or something.
I got him shut off. Okay,
Okay.
sorry about that.
That's okay. So what I was saying was we were looking for a way to take that amazing experience and offer it online so that we can start working with people outside of Michigan and be a smart option for them. So before the coronavirus hit, we transitioned to offering our live design sessions through Zoom, where people will meet with us. We'll screen share our art programs and our suppliers, and we'll go through that whole, art building, order building experience with them online. And we've been doing that ever since. And, we really want to press into sales and marketing of our services. And initially my answer was we're playing to our strengths. Our strengths are giving customers an amazing, unique experience when placing their print order, and sales and marketing. And we just so happen to work with other people who their strength is printing. So that way we have a team full of A players, and we've got an A quality experience at every point through the cycle of an order.
Sounds interesting. So you're obviously not going to go back into the print side of things. You're just going to continue doing what you do. So do you have a good national audience now, or is it growing, or what?
Yeah, so it's growing. At this point, we still are pretty new into diving into sales and marketing. We're not experts by any means. I would say that probably 60% of our business is regional, and the other 40% is outside of our region. It's out of state. And we'd just really like to flip that number. We'd like to be, we'd like to largely grow our audience and the people that we're working with so that pretty much everybody is out of our region.
I know you've been involved with Richard Greaves. He's the one who
Yes.
obviously recommended you. And I'm assuming you're not living too far from him since he's in Michigan. What part of Michigan are you in?
I'm in a little town called Midland, Michigan, right in the middle of the mitten.
Yeah, I've been there. Well, I graduated Western Michigan.
Okay. Yeah. So
So-
I live about 2 hours north of Richard Greaves. He lives in Wyandotte, one of the suburbs of Detroit.
Yep. No, I'm familiar with Michigan. Matter of fact, I did a consulting job up in that Midland area just before the pandemic.
Okay. Which company?
That's a good question. You think I can remember all the companies I've worked with?
It would have been like Sandlot Sports or ATS Printing, maybe.
No, actually,
Uh,
I know I flew into what are the towns there?
I would have been Saginaw.
Okay. And from there, I drove north. So it's a company that owns a bunch of motels and gas stations and.
TR McTaggart.
Huh?
TR McTaggart.
Yep, that's it, McTaggart's.
Yep.
Did some work with that. Actually, I worked with them about 25 years ago, back when they were considerably smaller.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know their production manager. She's a great gal, Lindsay.
Yeah, Lindsay. Well, I worked with Lindsay. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, interesting company, nice people.
Yeah.
Uh,
I see you know your mittens.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so funny to see when you talk about the places in this. You know?
Yeah. Well, when you have a map on your body, I mean, you got to use it.
Yeah, that's funny. By the way, I'm from Sweden, so that's not even on your.
yeah, so they don't have any mittens in Sweden. They only have gloves.
All right. Well, greetings from Michigan.
Yep.
Surprised Richard Greaves hasn't made it on. So how did you meet Richard?
Yeah. So when I was just starting up my business, I was gifted a bunch of screen printing equipment, about 10 grand worth, everything from screens, chemicals, and I was given a 20 watt, a 50 watt halogen work light for my exposure unit. And I was getting like 15-minute exposures on one manual frame. And I just knew that was no good. So I originally wanted to do all over printing. So like, 4 foot by 4 foot print areas. And I
Sure.
wanted to buy an exposure unit that could handle that. So I built my own frame, my own vacuum frame. It was a flip table. And then I needed to get a light. And so I found a light on the used marketplace. And I was so new to screen printing. I was actually just scouring and researching t-shirt forums back, when t-shirt forums was a big deal. And I found this light, and I remembered reading some posts by Richard Greaves where he was just an absolute next level scientist making all these posts. And I had no idea who this guy was, but it was next level stuff. So I was about to drop some, a good chunk of change it was a 6K metal halide freestanding lamp. And I just wasn't sure. I didn't know much. Wasn't sure if I was buying the right machine. So I messaged him on t-shirt forums and I said, hey, my name's Josiah. I don't know much about printing, but this is the unit I'm looking at purchasing. Is this a good purchase? So he gave me a phone call and he just started downloading information to me. He started talking about, what emulsions are you using? Do they have diazo? Talking about cure times, nanometer wavelengths of the UV light spectrum. And I was like, this guy knows all of his stuff. And so I found out he lived in Michigan, which is about, hour 45, 2 hours south of me. So that Thanksgiving, I decided to go down a day early and I would just spend the day with him. And I did. And I found out this guy's the library for screen printing in the United States. And he's got like every single printed publication for screen printing there is. And so I absolutely just loved, learning from him and listening to him. And I soaked it up and we became friends. And so he told me I need to go to a trade show. And so I went with him. He and I drove down to ISS Atlantic City, and he introduced me to everybody. I mean, what an honor it was to have this guy who had built connections and relationships for like 40 years and got to, bring me into the relationships that he had built. And I got to meet so many amazing people who I'm still friends with today and still connected with today. So that's the short and skinny on how I got connected with Richard Greaves. Just reached out to a random scientist online.
He never introduced you to me one night when you were at that show.
I don't think you were there, Charlie.
I have only missed 3 ISS shows since the day they started.
Okay.
And
Well,
I can
maybe you were
guarantee
there.
I can guarantee you I was in Atlantic City because I've been doing their workshops and I started their workshops in 1986. And in all that time, I've missed 3.
Okay. Well, we would have gone might have been 2017, I feel like, either 2016 or 17.
Yeah, I
That
did.
sounds about
I've never missed an Atlantic City show ever.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I actually exhibited in the very first one.
That's awesome. Wow, you're an OG, man. OG big dog.
Well, that's what happens when you've been in this industry for too long.
Yeah.
But now, Rich, I met Richard a long time ago. And he definitely has a lot of publications and is definitely the keeper of anything to do with this industry, for the most part. I have a bunch of stuff I'm supposed to put together and send to him because I did get into this a little before he did. But he definitely has lots of knowledge, lots of things at his fingertips, and always good to stay in touch with him.
Oh yeah. Yep. I'll have some dinner with him here probably in the next few weeks or so. We'll get connected, and a very good friend of mine. I grant Richard a lot of credit for the success of my company and the relationships that he helped to bring me into. Relationships are largely due to the success of our company.
Nice. Costa, this sounds something like what you might end up doing, contracting off all your stuff.
Maybe, but now we try to learn all the different skills and to be like the best customer for you. So having the artwork ready, having the garments ready, and for not just now we're making small orders like up to 50 in the same, but it's tagging along. We have all the different techniques except traditional screen print. We don't have that because there's too many of good screen printers or screen printers general in Sweden. We are not that many people, but this pandemic made a lot of them that was struggling before the pandemic, they just folded. So
Yeah,
we'll see now what happens after. If there is the technique is going much faster, and the money is there, but it seems that they jumping over going direct to a garment print instead of having a digital squeegee. It looks like that, but I'm gonna look into that a little bit more. But I got a feeling for that because nobody that I talk to really knows what a digital squeegee is.
yeah.
So, and I learned it from you guys. So I haven't seen them either. But
I'm putting
But
in an
the-
order for the digital squeegee today.
cool,
Who
cool.
are you working with?
Sean Kirkpatrick.
Oh, Sean, down in Texas.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't have that many in the States either, but we do have some. I think Sean is one of the early ones. Pete from Same Day Tees, I think, is the only one who has 2 of those now.
Sean's installing his second right now.
Oh, he does? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with who has what, but you know, it's an interesting that whole thing is quite interesting. The whole digital squeegee deal certainly is being explored more and more. I guess that's definitely one of the positive things that have come out of the pandemic, in the sense that it gave people a lot of chances to do some experimenting. But I heard in Sweden that there's not much in the way of COVID issues in terms of vaccinations and stuff. I don't know why. I just read that somewhere online. But it seems that Sweden is open.
Yeah, now a week just open everything, but generally I think it's a little too early because it's going to be a real flashback from the summer and all the students and stuff that are together. They just today they send home a whole 9th grade. No, all the 9th grader in the school had to go home, all the classes, because they had a new test that they take with in your mouth, that you have a liquid, and then you run it around in your mouth, and then you spit it out, and it changed color if you're
Positive.
Yep. And they didn't have any symptoms, so they sent everybody that was in the 9th grade, they had to go home and do on distance. So it's going back again, but we have had a lot onto our own responsibility. Not that big of a lockdown, but we had a lot of rules onto our own responsibility to have face masks, and or when you're in a tight bus. But if there are 5 people on the bus, there's no meaning, and there's no meaning of having a face mask if you're driving alone in your car.
Correct.
So, yeah, but in other countries like Germany and stuff, they stop you if you don't have a face mask in your car.
Wow.
And you get fined. And in Dubai, was $3,000 fine if you go outside without the face mask. So
at the airports in the US, it's a $1,500 fine. Although I noticed quite a few people are not wearing them, and it's kind of stupid. I mean,
yeah.
You really want to risk $1,500 because of not putting on a mask? I mean, I think that's just ridiculous. the thing that COVID has done in the US, and I think it's done it in a lot of the countries throughout the world, a lot of the companies that were just barely hanging on and were really creating problems in terms of poor pricing, poor quality, poor delivery. Many of those companies are gone. And I think it's kind of an interesting thing. When I first moved to Colorado, I was working quite a bit with the companies up in the mountains. And one of my bigger accounts, was having one of those years where we had a no snow year. And I said, how is this going to impact you in a negative way? So, well, it's certainly going to hurt us a bit, but it also gets rid of a lot of those who are just hanging on. And so although we won't have a great season this year, we'll have a great one next year because a lot of the companies that were creating issues won't be around anymore. I think the same is true in screen printing or in almost any industry. Those who are barely hanging on, not that all of them should have gone away because they shouldn't, but some of them definitely did need to go away. And it just means that there's that much more for those who are able to survive it, do quality work, do the type of things that are required to stay in business properly, select, on-time deliveries, higher quality, proper pricing, which doesn't mean that you have to be low.
Nope.
And I think
No.
that's one of the big mistakes is people tend to check and see what their competitors are charging. And it's like, forget about your competitor. You have to figure out what makes sense for you in order to stay in business, number one. Number two, if you're putting out great quality work, you should be able to charge for that because in every area, somebody has got the highest price, somebody's got the lowest price, and there's no joy in being the one that has the lowest price.
Well, exactly. And as you learn, as I learned from you guys, I check the competitors to see that I'm not lower than them. And then I give them better quality, more service, or a better package deal. Like for these kids in the sports, tennis group that I fixed,
Yeah.
individual package T-shirt with a name tag on top of the package, on the plastic bag. So they just have to get the name out and give them the sealed plastic bag with a T-shirt in. That was the deal, and delivered on site when the event should be, not for them to store in a storage room for the next week or something. Just delivered when the event will be there and everything set up for easy delivery.
Nice.
And they didn't ask for the price.
It's funny when you're putting out a great quality product and you're delivering on time, price is usually not the issue. I mean, how much of a difference you think the high and low is,
Nope.
in any situation? I mean, I remember Mark Coudray mentioned something years ago. He said one of his better accounts came to him and said, I'm going to be switching to another printer. And Mark said, well, why are you going to be changing? He said, well, he's 10 cents a shirt less. And he said, on the 350 piece order, that's $35. He said, I spend more than that on you for lunch. And the guy said, you know what? You're absolutely right. What the hell am I thinking? You get great quality. Oh, you're $35 more on this order? Really? And you think that's going to make or break you?
Mhm.
You finding much of that, Josiah?
Yeah, we're priced a lot higher in the market, I believe, actually. And really, it all comes down to positioning of your business, is what I find. And it has to do with your unique value proposition, right? I really like when Seth Godin, he's a marketer, he says that if you're offering the same products and services, just sort by price. When you're going to go and buy something and you got 10 competitors offering the same exact thing, buy the cheapest thing. If it's all the same, sort by price. And so I think that that's our challenge as business owners, to offer a product and a service that's unlike any competitors. You know, if people come to us and they say, hey, you know, I can get t-shirts at $7 a pop from, you know, Joe Schmo over here, I don't ever get concerned about price, because I know that our experience that we give customers with framing up their art, framing up their stuff, it is so much more amazing and better than anything anybody else can do, that I'm going to tell them, hey, yeah, we sell them for $14 a shirt. Like, oh, well, why is it so expensive? And we say, well, think about how much money I'm going to save you in the time that you put into your order. You know, you're going to get your stuff and it's actually going to get done right. I mean, nobody likes spending a ton of money. And, you know, because whether you go with the cheap guy or the expensive guy, you're still going to shell out a good chunk of change. Okay. The difference between the cheap guy and the expensive guy is that the expensive guy gets it done right. You know, with the cheap guy, you still spend a bunch of money and you have a crap product in the end, you know? And so for us, we are priced higher because we offer a better service. We offer a better experience, and we're going to give them so many other things that they cannot find anywhere else in the marketplace, you know? So, you know, if they come to our competitors and say, hey, Red Threads is going to give us this live design experience where they're going to make all our graphics live with us and, you know, do all this stuff for us, can you do that for us? The other companies are going to say, no, sorry, we don't do that. And so we're unique in the marketplace, and so we can charge more for our products and services, you know. And I don't even watch my competitors' pricing really, and I don't even have to price match, because we're offering a service that's, it's not an apples to apples comparison. If you want to compare us to other companies, you can't, because other companies don't offer what we do. They're not giving you what we're giving you, you know.
Yep. Oh, I understand. Listen, I'm a consultant, and I never check to see what other consultants charge. And I remember years ago, I did a workshop in Florida, and a company wanted to hire me, and then they came back to me and say, hey, we found another consultant who charges for the week what you charge per day. And I said, well, you know, it's your money. You go whichever way you like. And about a month later, I got a call saying, we'd like you to come down and work with us. And it's like, I thought you hired somebody else. He said, yeah. Well, we won't discuss that.
Yeah.
You know, the unfortunate thing in this industry is everybody becomes a consultant when they're out of work. And it's kind of like, yeah, I've been doing full-time well, I started consulting in the late 70s, but I closed my supply house in 95, and this is all I do is consulting and trade shows. And that is what I do. I'm not looking for a real job, because I do have a real job. But but I think, you know, the difficulty with some people is I don't think that, especially screen printers, and it's one of the things that I push hard on, is what's your time worth? I mean, if you're going to go into the office or open your doors and put a key into it, you have a certain amount of cost that you have to deal with. And if you sell nothing, it costs you that much for the day. And if you sell 10,000 pieces, it costs you 1/10,000th for that day. Most screen printers, I don't think, including myself, I mean, my background is in, I have a fine art degree. And they never discussed finances with us when I was in college. And it's an unfortunate thing. I think most screen printers don't have a clue as to what it costs them to keep their operation running per day or per hour, per month. And so they price themselves based on where the competitors are versus on where they have to be in order to make a living. And it's just one of those unfortunate things. This is a quote unquote a blue collar industry. And with a lot of people in it, they don't understand the financial aspect of it, including me. I mean, I have to admit, back in my early days, I had no clue. Of course, my partner was the royalties accountant for Dell Publishing. Unfortunately, he hated accounting. So for 2 years, we didn't even have books. But that is one of the issues. And certainly, I think you have to look at what you do and what you need to make, and you go for it. You know, you put it out there. If you're not getting business, then I think you have to reevaluate where you are and what you're wanting to get out of this.
Mhm.
And to be little clear there, I'm totally with you with that, but I have totally control of where the money is and what money I need to get in. And so I work with computers since 81, 1981. So I just stopped with that computer work and start, because my wife did the embroidery and we spun out from that and didn't do vinyl, and then we expanded with all the machines that we have. So I'm totally, but I check the competitors so I don't lose any money that's already on the table. No, because this is a new market for me.
Yeah,
So I don't want to lose any already given money, because I have my stuff together. I know I can run a lean or I can run a rich business. I know where my money is and where I can cut it or where I can do. And this pandemic has really been good for me, because I haven't been around on all the trade shows that you have, and I haven't had any, people that's serving me on the plates of the market like you. Yeah, lucky Greece. Yeah, you went right into business with all the big guys. So I had to go to check out all these trade markets and so on, but I did that on the web, and most of the technique and most of the guys I met was in US. It's not that many people in Sweden that still wants to share what they know, because they're trade secret, So, but you guys are more open, and we talk about techniques, and I read a lot of your books that you how to handle certain problems and how to think when you make a design, or you help a customer, or how to get them, and to ask more questions, more accurate questions than just answer $1.50 on the price question. You ask, why do you want the t-shirt? What purpose? What is it that you want to do? And ending up with delivering a whole tote bag with a t-shirt, with a collar, with some candy, and with the letter from the boss to all the guys, and fixing it to one spot. And no, I'm not going to stand there cooking candy and wrapping it in paper. And no, I'm not going to make a fancy design, but I have the printers and I can make the letters, and I can make the tote bag and the t-shirt. If there's a big order, we ordered them from somebody else that we work together with. Yeah, but we package and deliver everything and see that they get it in time.
so are you gonna go over to FESPA in Amsterdam? It just started.
Yeah, I know.
Excuse me, just started today.
Yeah, I know it was planned, but we had puppy delivery so to take care of.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, so
because I usually go to it, and in order for Americans to go there, they required a 10-day quarantine. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to go over to Amsterdam to sit in a hotel for 10 days before a show.
nope.
But,
But I had my entrance card, in my badge. I have it, so I was planning to go.
well, it's certainly, if you've never been, it's definitely a worthwhile show. And I don't know how big screen printing it used to be. FESPA stood for the Federation of European Screen Printing Associations. I'm not sure how much screen printing they're offering in terms of textiles, because the last show I did, the screen print area was minute. But with the pandemic and all, who knows what's going to be there. Josiah, are you also contracting embroidery and digital work, or predominantly just screen print work?
We contract everything out. I mean, we're really trying to move away from production. So we send out signs, signage, embroidery, laser engraving, screen printing, digital printing, anything that's easy for us to kind of create for our customers that we have connections with, where we can order with good margins. That's kind of like an ABC product for our clients. That's what we sell.
Okay, got it. Alan, you still with us?
Hey, Josiah, you are where I want to be in the future.
Yeah, well, like I said, the thing that makes our model works is the customer experience. Their ability to meet with us, in an online format, go over their whole order, their designs and things like that. The future of our company is going to look like, looking inside the building, it's going to be a sales floor of 50 or so sales designers. That's what I call our people. They've got the art knowledge and also the product knowledge and the printing knowledge. So we'll have 50 sales designers, and we'll have a number of different companies that we contract and send everything out to. So where they're taking care of all the production, and then we'll probably have a small production facility for like R&D, specialty stuff like that. I mean, I love printing. I mean, I've got a fully loaded print shop right now that's just gathering dust, but in the future, we'll use that. So that's the future of our company. So if you want to be where we're at, I mean, I think this is the future of printing, is giving the customers a better, easier experience, and then sending printing to the pros.
One-stop shop.
A little bit, yeah.
It's certainly an interesting situation. I mean, it's not anything new. There have been lots of people doing contract work or giving out contract work, but certainly they usually don't come with a good background. They're usually one of the more difficult companies to work with.
Sure.
Yours seems to be much smoother, only because you do have the background in it, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. Yeah, when we send over our POs, we send over print ready art 100% of the time. We perfect POs. We had a job last week where our screen print contractor actually screwed up. They did not print the right art. They send us art approvals to approve before we push the job through. We approved the art, everything looked good, but they screwed up. It was for like a 125 piece order or something like that, maybe 175, can't remember. But they screwed up. And I called my client, I sent a picture to them, and I just said, hey, like, we screwed up. But they still look good. What can we do? What can we do about this? And I ended up working with the client to sell them that product at full cost. And they were going to place an order with us very soon, and they were going to get sleeve prints on the hoodies. So I said, you know what? Buy these shirts at full cost. They still look good. We'll print up your hoodies for you. We'll do your front print at a cost, but we'll give you the sleeve prints for free, basically. And so I worked with my contractors, so they didn't have to repurchase any garments. They didn't have to redo the print run, but they had to do some long sleeve printing at no charge to move up. So, talking about relationship, right? Broker to printer relationship, our relationship with our printer is just as much, if not more important than our relationships with our customers, right? I can lose a customer. I can lose 10 customers and my business will still be successful. But if I lose my printer, I'm going to be hurting bad. And so it's my job as a broker to take care of my customers, sure, but also to take care of my printers and make sure that I'm making their day as easy as possible, and I'm sending them lots of orders to make them lots of money,
Yeah. Well, I would agree. Alan, how are you doing?
Hey, Charlie, I ain't talked to you forever and a day, man. How you doing?
It's been a long, long time.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
I remember doing some work for you. When was that?
Probably 92, 3.
Nope, 95. You were the first job that I did after I closed my supply house. I
Okay.
closed it on October 31st. And I think about a week later, I came down to work with you guys.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's cool. You got a memory like an elephant, don't you?
No, it's just that I remember when I closed my supply house. So,
Yeah.
and you were the very first job that I got right after that.
Gotcha.
My first full-time situation.
Yeah, at that time, we were printing for Walmart wide open.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember you gave me one of your pickup trucks with a gun rack on the back.
Well, you know,
And it
welcome to
was like,
Kentucky.
whoa, okay. That was a different experience for me. Growing up in Brooklyn, we didn't have pickup trucks, nor did we have gun racks. But that was an interesting time. How are you doing now through the whole situation with getting supplies and equipment and stuff?
Well, it's been a challenge for sure. Last year, we had a massive fire January the 29th last year, burned our whole production building down.
Wow.
And so we spent all last year rebuilding in the middle of COVID, but that allowed us to keep our folks kind of busy instead of having to send them home, you know, when everything kind of shut down.
Sure.
So the construction people, they never missed a beat, you know, they just kept going. And so we were able to do all the demo ourselves and do a lot of work on the concrete slab that was left ourselves. And I did a lot of painting and stuff like that as we were building back. But we were down without production from January 29th till December the 1st. It took us 10 months to rebuild back.
Did you send out your jobs to other people just so you didn't miss out on your
I did.
customers?
Yeah, I had a contract printer in Indianapolis that really helped us out a lot. They really took good care of us and did a great job for us. And then we do a lot of other stuff now too. We do laser and rotary engraving and wide format. And some of that stuff was in a different building, so it didn't get hurt too bad. And then we do a lot of ASI stuff. And our office just got smoked up. We were able to get it back up and going in about 2 weeks. So we made it through it, and we're back running pretty hard this year. Ironically, the fire didn't get my press, but the fire department drowned it.
Oh yeah. Water is worse than fire, I'll tell you.
Yeah, but we were able to we drive that thing out and we're using it today. So it survived.
Fortunately, they didn't use salt water in their hoses, so that's a good thing.
No salt water. Yeah.
I had a client in the Caribbean that got hit by one of the hurricanes, and unfortunately, that was salt water. And I mean, it just destroys everything. And they tried to hose it down and clean it up. They were able to get it going for a while, but fortunately, when it's just wet, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
A little bit of cleanup job, and that helps out.
So Josiah, I haven't been able to hear everything because I've been on and off the phone and stuff, but do you print, or did I understand you're a broker?
I used to print for 8 years, and now I broker.
Now you're broker? Got you. Well, we're seeing more people kind of going into it that way. And I ran into a girl on Facebook in one of the print groups, and she was asking questions, and I could just tell she didn't know anything at all. And I said, if I can help you any, I said, just shoot me a private message. So anyway, she messaged me with just asking me the most basic things, and I said, what's your experience? Well,
None.
worse than that, my dad's sister, our aunt or somebody, had a print shop, and they wanted to get out of it for health reasons. So my family bought it, and I'm trying to run it, but I'm also an RN and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, do you ever work in it at all? And she was like, no. And I said, well, the people that you bought it from, are they helping you any? She's like, no. I said, here's the best advice I can give you. Walk away from it and go start selling. And when you've sold enough that you can justify hiring somebody that knows something, because I said, you try to learn this on your own without mentoring under anybody and try to run a company and try to RN, you're just going to be in for a colossal headache all the time. So,
Yeah, it's a wonderful way of losing a lot of money.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And driving screen print is crazy, trying to get your jobs out the door because you have no idea how to even put them together.
Well, I mean, she was going to try to print them herself, and she didn't even know anything about ink or mesh or squeegees or, she's like, well, what's the difference between plastisol and water base? And I'm like, that's a whole other conversation,
Yeah. You know, the interesting thing is when I got into this industry, there was one trade show a year. It was the SPA show. And to say that it was small would be an understatement. I think if you wanted to hit every booth at the show, it might take you 2 hours to get through the show. And of course, show was on for, I think, 3 or 4 days. I forget now. But you certainly got to meet everyone. The thing is, in today's world, there's enough shows, there are enough workshops, there are enough outside ways of learning to get into this industry, other than YouTube. I think that's one of the most dangerous things of YouTube, because most people who try to use them have no clue if they're watching something that's worthwhile or not. And so I kind of am a big fan of discouraging people from going to YouTube unless you know exactly who it is that's posting that particular video.
Yeah.
And you know, when you start getting basic questions like what's the difference between water-based and plastisol, it's like, it's probably time for you to take a class or two, or I know Scott Fresner has an online situation. You know, there's just too many ways of picking up some information to be at least somewhat dangerous.
Yeah, I tell you, but I told her, I said, you know, I started when I was 18. But I had worked in a screen print place in high school, and then I was very fortunate that I hit some sales pretty quick then. I was able to hire a guy who had 8 years of experience. And if it wasn't for that, and I was able to learn from him as I was kind of trying to navigate my way through, but to just start from ground zero, not have anybody around you that really knows anything, I mean, it's just almost an insurmountable task, it would appear to me, especially hitting it on a part-time basis after a full-time career, you know.
Well, I mean, you know, back when I got into this, there was no one to learn from. You either jumped into it or you kind of looked around in whatever shops were available, and there weren't that many.
You all were printing with the same stones that they used on the 10 Commandments, though. I mean, it's a different
You know
story.
what? Not far removed. I had 200-foot long print tables is what I learned on. And matter of fact, I bought them used. So if you think that buying used equipment is difficult, we had to reconstruct these tables, and they had to be level and parallel on both sides. But the good news was nobody worried about registration at that time. It could, as a matter of fact, I'm working on a book right now of my years in the industry. And one of the images is a Led Zeppelin shirt that's probably between 1.25 and 1/2 inch out of register, but didn't really matter. The guy who bought it and put it in his book obviously could care less about the fact that it was out of register. In today's world, those are things that don't allow you to move forward anymore.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How many presses are you running down there now, Alan?
Charlie, I'm just running one M&R now. I actually put a price in on one, a bid in on one last week on a second press, but we're just running the one. I sold off my relationship with Walmart to a company up in Indiana back in the early 2000s, and they promptly ran it into bankruptcy and was out of business within a couple of years. But I did Walmart for 20 years, and I was ready to do something else that was a little less thumb on my back of my neck all the time kind of thing.
Yep.
So we've been doing a lot of contract work for the last 20 years.
Okay. You're running MHMs or are you running M&Rs?
All M&R.
Okay.
Rich Hoffman was too good to me for me to even talk to anybody else.
Well, you know, I think Rich was an interesting guy, certainly. And when he was good to you, he was definitely very good. He and I started out a bit shaky at times, but we definitely patched up our situation over the years.
Charlie,
Yeah.
I gotta be heading out here in about 15 or 20 minutes. Just wanted to give you a little heads up.
That's fine. You know, this is on a very soft level. It's
Yeah.
kind of like we can go as long as you want, or we can stop whenever you want. That's up to you. If you need to go, I understand. Certainly, it was nice having you on.
I apologize for what I missed, Josiah, but tell me more about your operation and how you made it, why you made the switch and what you're specializing in. You're in Michigan, is that right?
Yes, sir. Michigan. Yeah, I'll just give you the short and skinny. Basically, our strength is helping customers build their order. We do live Zoom sessions where we go through their artwork, we make their artwork, we go through our suppliers and pull products, mock everything up, and we build the whole order, including pricing. Takes about a half hour to an hour for an average order. And we do it live with them. So it gives them a lot of hands-on control. And that's our strength, is the customer order building experience. And we just had to decide, we're going to be a multi-million-dollar company. So we want to increase our customer base tenfold. What are we going to focus on? Are we going to focus on sales, marketing, the customer experience, or are we going to focus on production and turning out the best product on time, blah, blah, blah. So I just made the decision. We're going to focus on the customer experience, sales, and marketing. So we partnered with other printers who offer a quality printing in the area. They're about 45 minutes away from us. And so that's, we're pushing to offer our services, in a national audience, and working with them in an online format.
So you're working with basic Joe's Plumbing, corner tavern type businesses, or are you working more with ad agencies, or what's your main focus on the customer end?
Yeah, we haven't really gotten hyper niched yet. We're working with small to medium sized companies, anywhere to large companies. We work with a lot of big companies in Detroit, Fortune 500 companies. Who work with a lot of them and their sales and marketing teams and such. But then we also help out a lot of the medium sized companies in our area. So as we begin to expand our market reach around the United States, we are going to define a niche, and we haven't defined one yet. So honestly, right now we have like an order minimum of like $500, something like that. So if people got the money to meet our minimums, we're good to go. Our average order size is probably, I don't know, $1,000 to $2,000 range. And so that's kind of where we're at for a given order.
Yeah. Are you still just using standard mill shirts, or have you got anybody manufacturing for you?
Just standard mill shirts, just purchasing from like SS Activewear, Sanmar, Alpha, whoever's got the stock at this point.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. You said you built it on the fly with your customer. You're like, hold on, let me check 14 suppliers for these 6 shirts.
Well, that's what we're having to do these days. It's absolutely
yeah.
terrible. I had a customer yesterday who's ready to give me the money if I could find him a black hat, a black snapback trucker, but there's none.
Yeah, I think, the word I'm getting is customer wants a green hat. It's like, we have blue. He said, yeah, but I want green. It's like, yeah, but we have blue. So you're going to take the blue, or you're not going to get a hat at all.
Yeah. It's been, I've never seen anything like it. I've been doing this for 38 years. I know Charlie's been doing it for 120, but
At least.
I've never seen anything like it, even remotely.
Neither have I. Listen, I do work with some of the ink companies and when I have my last workshop, couldn't get any ink from them. They had to actually go to their suppliers and have them send it to me, which, is kind of ironic because they're an ink manufacturer. Right. They don't have ink.
Yeah.
And the biggest issue is when I was watching the news a couple of nights ago, there were 80 ships off of the coast of California with, I forget what they said, 14,000 containers. And God only, and that they contain some of the garments, some of the raw materials, some of the things, not only that we need, but that everybody in this country needs. And they don't figure that they're going to be able to get them out until sometime in the beginning of 2022.
Yeah,
which
I saw that, and it kind of mind boggled me when they showed the picture of all those containers just stacked on top of how big that is. I mean, you're talking about something that would not even remotely fit in an NFL football stadium. I mean, it's that big.
Yeah.
And
it's when I was in Nigeria, I went to a shopping center, and the entire shopping center was made up of containers. And you don't realize how big it is, but the one that I went into was a restaurant, and it just used one container. And it's like this whole goddamn restaurant fits into a container. You know, it's mind boggling. And then when you see those ships with all the containers stacked on them,
Right.
crazy. And everyone says, you know, how'd that happen? Well, you had the 40 ships that were stuck in the Suez Canal, and that created the initial start. Then you had the pandemic at the same time. On top of that, trying to find workers. You know, I think that's still the biggest issue in the screen print side, as well as anything else, is finding people who want to work. And it's not even down to how much you want to pay. It's kind of like, I'll pay anything if I can just get people. But it doesn't look like it's going to soften up for quite some time.
Not for a minute, that's for sure. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
If we have that problem big, you know, all the cleaning personnel for the airplanes, hotels and shops, you know, the cleaning personnel, they have been upgraded to first level, oh no, what's the name? So not nurse, but the one that's under, you know, that help nurses
Yeah.
in the hospital. First level of that, and with an education plan for the next 3 years and into the economy, you know, stairways up, and they are doubling the salary from cleaning, and they're never going back.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well,
that's a shortage. The hotels can't open because they don't have staff enough to clean, and the airplanes is stuck on the airport because it's not clean enough since last time. And we have 2 guys that fuels the airplanes at Arlanda here in Uppsala. 2 guys.
wow.
The other one had to quit, you know, because the pandemic when they shut it down. And it takes almost 6 months to clarify another person to be on the runway with gas on the. So even if they hire somebody tomorrow, it's going to take 6 months before he can go out to the airplane. You know,
Crazy.
Pretty crazy.
it's really crazy.
Guys, I got to pop off and hop on another meeting here in about 3
Yep.
minutes.
I think I'm going to close this whole thing down. Josiah, thanks so much for being on. Appreciate it.
Problem.
Alan,
Look forward
good
to seeing
seeing
you at
you.
the next ISS show, Charlie.
Josiah,
I'll
if
be
there's
there.
any contract work we can do for you, give us a shout. That's what we do every day.
You got a digital squeegee? I got a job. I
No.
need a place right now for it.
No, well, we just.
Hey, anybody got Pete Balsani's phone number? I'm going to give him a call next.
Who?
Pete Balsani from Same Day Tees.
No, I don't. No.
Do you need his phone number?
Yeah, just give me his phone number. I'm going to call him next. I got his number on his website, but I'm going to call him because Sean Kirkpatrick he's out too
I'm not
far
sure
on
if
his
I
turn
have
times.
his direct number or not. I've worked with Pete quite a bit.
Yes, yeah. I have to go. I'll come and visit you and look at your setup. You know, next time I'm in US.
All right.
Alright,
See you later.
see you.
Gusto.
The number, thanks so much, Alan.
See
Good
you,
seeing
Alan.
you guys. I have a number for Pete. I'm not sure if it's his cell or not, but I'll give it to you. It's 708-258-6666.
708-258-6666.
You got it.
Perfect.
You know, and if
Well-
that just gets you to his factory, just ask for him.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
He's
that's
really a
fine.
nice guy to work with.
Yep, looks like that's his local phone on for his business. Well,
Yeah,
awesome.
you're not
Well,
even
Charlie,
that far from him. He's down in Frankfurt, Illinois.
yeah, not too far from me. So I'll give him a call, see what he can do. Charlie, I really appreciate you having me on the show. Look
Thanks
forward
for
to meeting you
coming
in
on. Look
person.
forward to seeing you at one of the shows.
Yeah, absolutely, my man. We'll catch you later.
Have a good one now.